So on Monday, October 17th, was the official Yield Plus launch. And that is when the initial funds to deploy Yield Plus were deposited. There was a request made from the Yield Plus team to request funding from ENF. So that was 300,000 EOS that was deposited on the night before. And on the date of October 17th was when the parameters were modified to the official launch, which is the 5% yield earnings per year. And everything went really smooth. There was no hiccups. Everything went according to plan. And right now I see the DeFi applications in EOS are starting to trickle in and try to plan their next step. You can see a few liquidity pools that are boosted, specifically the EOS to Tether pair. One DeFi application, DFS, actually has a pretty increased rewards on that liquidity pool. And there's other teams working right now to figure out what their game plan is for Yield Plus and try to make sure that they can increase the rewards to their users. Pretty exciting stuff. There's a lot of work, I think, still that needs to be done. A lot of more marketing on the DeFi ecosystem, but I think the teams are activated and ready to launch into their next phase.
So I've been impressed with the channel with a bot. Denis maybe even set it up for the applications coming in. So it's great to see the increased yields. That was expected. DFS, I shared the screenshot after you pointed out to me earlier. They're offering a 33% APR on their USDT EOS pool. So I'm guessing that's because they're pouring the Yield Plus subsidy into there. I've seen things in the DeFi Box community channels. There's some votes coming up, I believe, to determine how they're going to handle their yields. But that was all expected. The Yield Plus program, it's great to increase the yields for the end users. But the end goal of Yield Plus is to increase development of new DeFi protocols on EOS. And that's the part that I've liked seeing is the new applications coming in from new projects that I wasn't previously aware of. I don't know if they're just launching now because of Yield Plus or if they've just been in stealth mode for a little bit, but MixDAO was one of them, I believe, was one of the names. And another one came in yesterday. Not all of them are qualifying, so there's a minimum amount of TVL to actually start earning the rewards. But that's step 2. Step 1 is just registering and getting on the radar. So that's something I've liked to see personally. But besides that, it's been a couple of days, and DFS is the first one that came on my radar with a really juicy yield. And I think the Tether listings are going to come at a really, really good time because, like, for example, most people who hold EOS positions, or any crypto position, you're probably also holding stable coins. So if you're already holding both assets, then it makes a lot of sense to go into the liquidity pools. Or if you want to use like an automated trading strategy, for example, you don't hold any EOS, but you believe that the market will go up in general, like regardless of assets, you just think that eventually it'll go up. You could actually open up a new EOS position. You already hold stable coins, put that into the liquidity pool. And then it's kind of like an automated trading strategy. So for example, if EOS went up in price, then you would end up with more USDT and less EOS. So then you could pull out of the liquidity pool and rebalance to all USDT. But while you're in that pool, you're earning a 33% yield, for example. So there's a lot of different strategies that are opening up right now because of the Yield Plus. So I think we'll continue to see that growth. And it is also cool to see, going back to how we led into this topic with the Wendy-O show last week. So if you haven't watched it, I highly suggest that you do, because it was just, you could obviously see that there were 3 people. There was Wendy and then the 2 other guests who really didn't have much of an idea of what was going on in EOS, didn't know about Yield Plus or Recover Plus until Eve had the opportunity to share the news. And to just see the reactions from 3 people who are pretty aware of other things going on in the space and what's exciting and what's not exciting, just seeing the kind of general reactions from that, and then also the follow through. So not only was an impressive showing of EOS, really popular YouTube channel, but the opportunities that have already presented themselves since then. So the other 2 hosts, I believe there's invites to bring Eve onto their shows, for example, to talk more about EOS, Yield Plus, and everything else going on. So it's nice to see it's the word's getting out there essentially, and it's just going to continue to expand.
There's actually one more it's more of a technical and administrative point to Yield Plus is it is the governance to launch Yield Plus was actually a multi-team approach. So right now, Yield Plus is actually under an MSIG with 5 out of 7 teams in the ecosystem. So that would be like the core Yield Plus team. And ENF was also involved, which is another 2 out of 3 partners on ENF. So to actually make the launch, we actually needed to have about 7 out of 10 actors. A lot of people had to approve the launch. So it's definitely, in a way, decentralized in a way that we had to have 7 out of 10 teams approve the launch. And so if anybody was following the MSIGs that were being proposed, there was an MSIG from Yield Plus team to propose to ENF to propose the approval of the funds being requested. So that was the first, in my opinion, or my first triple hop MSIG. This was an MSIG to propose an MSIG to approve the MSIG. So it was quite the MSIG inception to get this up and running, but it did require everybody's involvement. Kudos to all of the involving members of Yield Plus and ENF as well to launch this.